Verdict Form 5, abuse of a corpse, as to Maurice Gordon. We, the jury, found the defendant guilty.
A jury has found triple murder suspect Bryce Rhodes guilty of all 6 of his charges. That verdict coming just before 9:30 last night, a week after the trial began. Today, we will learn if Rhodes will spend his life in prison.
So Jim Stratman is here really breaking this down and adding some content here. Jim, what can you tell us?
Well, just to remember, it's been about 8 years. It'll be 8 years in May since Bryce Rhodes was initially arrested and charged with the murders of Larry Ordway, Maurice Gordon, and Christopher Jones. 8 years to prepare for this trial. But one of the most striking things about the trial is that the defense didn't call a single witness. Yesterday, they had the chance to do so, but decided to pass on that and push forward to closing arguments. Throughout the trial, the defense tried to use their cross-examinations to undermine the consistency of what the prosecution laid out. They argued that LMPD mishandled evidence and ignored the fact that there were other people present at the time of the murder, saying that once police had their man, they didn't look at any other suspects. One of the most pivotal moments came when one of the boys who helped kill Larry and Maurice testified. Jacory Taylor was only 16 at the time of the murder and said that Bryce Rhodes made him and the other kids that were present take turns stabbing the twins before Rhodes left to burn the bodies. Attorney Elizabeth Jones-Browns reminded the jury of that just before they went back to deliberate.
And he talked about doing anything he did at the direction of Bryce Rhodes. He talked about Bryce Rhodes wanting to kill Maurice and Larry and killing Maurice and Larry, wanting to kill Christopher Jones and killing Christopher Jones.
The jury only took a matter of hours before they came back with a verdict, guilty on all counts, 3 counts of murder, 2 counts of abuse of corpse, 1 count tampering with physical evidence. Now that leads to the big question, which is going to be answered today. What will happen at the sentencing? Rhodes faces life in prison after the death penalty was actually taken off the table before the trial started because of Rhodes' history with mental disabilities. His sentencing is set for a little bit later on today. Eric, Grace?
Jim, thank you. Now to a development in the case against former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knowles. Search warrants show he used taxpayer dollars to buy a vintage plane. The 1958 single-engine plane is registered to the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters, which is run by Knowles. It's one of 2 planes records show Knowles purchased using Sheriff's Department funds. They were filed under the Clark County Sheriff's Aviation Section, which he created. Investigators say the original owner sold it to Knowles with the understanding it was for his personal use. The plane will be seized as part of unlawfully obtained property in Knowles' case. He is currently facing 15 felony charges related to corrupt business practices, ghost employment, theft, and tax evasion.
In what he is calling the Forward Together budget, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is focused on education in the year ahead. He detailed his plan in last night's budget address. Beshear wants to put more than $1 billion toward an 11% pay raise for teachers, bus drivers, and other school staff. That would bring the starting teacher pay in Kentucky to just over $42,000. His plan would also put $172 million a year towards universal pre-K.
It's simple. You cannot give a child every opportunity if they don't have a teacher in every classroom. We won't have enough bus drivers unless we pay a better wage. And we cannot remain competitive with other states if we don't pay our teachers and other employees what they're worth.
Beshear also proposed raises for law enforcement and investments in their safety.
I'm proposing an additional $2,500 raise for all KSP troopers and officers, and enough new funding to add 150 more troopers over the next 2 years. I'm proposing $35 million to fund grants for body armor to protect our law enforcement officers and first responders.
In a move that would specifically impact Jefferson County, Beshear wants to fund 2 female-only juvenile detention centers. He also wants to fund the renovation of the Jefferson County Juvenile Detention Center. You can watch Beshear's full address right now on WHAS11.com.
6:07 now. Fallen LMPD officer Zach Cottengem was honored with a memorial service Monday to mark 2 years since he was killed in the line of duty. Officer Cottengem was investigating an abandoned car on the side of I-64 when a driver hit him. He's missed by his wife and 2 little boys. At his memorial service, his fellow LMPD officer said it was a top priority of theirs to make sure the 3 of them were taken care of after his passing.
Zach's youngest son was less than a year old when he passed, and I think it was just really important to everybody to let her know that we weren't going to leave her stranded, you know, that we were still going to help her with what she needed and help her get through.
300 cars lined Cave Hill Cemetery for Cotton Gim's funeral, and around 900 people attended. Right now, there's a sign on the side of I-64 in his honor.